So if Atlas had to hold the sky for all eternity, lest it crash into the Earth and wipe out everything in existence, then how was the sky held up before Kronos and Atlas lost the first Titan War? In the Titan's Curse, we get an up-close look at exactly what Atlas was doing since the downfall of the Titans, and we learn that the sky absolutely cannot be left unattended under any circumstances. This is why it trades hands with Artemis, Percy, and Annabeth while Atlas is free, which begs the question, who had to hold up the sky before Atlas? Well, lucky for us, the Percy Jackson Greek Gods companion novel sheds some light on this. And if you end up liking our explanation, something as small as a quick like, comment, or even a subscription helps us see what kind of videos you guys are interested in, and it also helps us get monetized so we can support these artists that you see working behind me. Thank you so much, my friends, and let's dive right in. At the dawn of existence, there's a primordial soup of energy and matter, simply known as chaos, which is a completely amorphous blob of everything. From this inky nothingness, Gaia formed, and this gave way to Earth as we know it. Fans of the series need no introduction to Gaia, but it's her relationship with Ouranos that's so important for this context. After being isolated for an indeterminate amount of time, Gaia forged the sky in the image of her perfect companion, a loving husband who provided a protective dome over the Earth that we now know as the sky. For a while, they were together, and this is what gave way to the first 12 Titans, but as time went on, their relationship became more and more unstable. The way Percy tells it, Ouranos not only neglected the Titans, but when his next set of children, the Cyclopes, were born, he cast them into Tartarus for their looks alone. This enraged and saddened Gaia, and given how dismissive Ouranos had been to the Titans, they took her side. And as the stakes escalated, they eventually staged a coup against their father. Kronos led the charge, taking a scythe and using it to hack his father to pieces while his physical body was away from his home domain, but he could not do it alone. 4 of his brothers helped him, and they each pinned Ouranos down by a limb as Kronos hacked his father apart, but even though this killed Ouranos, it didn't destroy the sky. The next part is speculation on Percy's part, but it seems like what happened here is that the Titans didn't kill Ouranos, but that they banished him from the Earth, and created a veil between the sky and the planet, because this is where the sky and the Earth first needed to remain separate. Percy states that they exiled him rather than kill him outright, but more on that in just a second. The 4 Titans that helped Kronos were each given a piece of the world to rule, and they were based on the 4 cardinal directions. This is why Koios, Krios, Hyperion, and Iaptus are all known as the Titans of the North, South, East, and West, respectively. These jobs are more than symbolic, however, because the 4 of them kept Ouranos at bay, and acted as pillars separating the sky from the Earth. Together, the combined existence of the 4 of them kept Ouranos and Gaia separate, and this is confirmed by Zeus himself. The Titans then rose to power, and we know that the world under the control of the Titans was not a world fit for mortals. Kronos consumed his children in an attempt to remain in power forever, but one son was saved by Kronos' wife Rhea. The youngest child of the 2 would later grow to become King Zeus of Olympus, and as he rose to power, he became stronger and stronger until the fateful day where he could finally challenge his father. He demolished Mount Orthus, freed his siblings, and led a crusade against the Titans, but these 4 cornerstones of the world all backed Kronos, and consequently, they all lost the war. Zeus proclaimed that he would banish them all to Tartarus, but Kronos' top general, the one known as Atlas, called him out on a flaw in his plan. He told Zeus directly that if these 4 were banished to Tartarus, that the structural integrity of the pillars holding the sky and the air would be compromised, and that he could not banish them without dooming the world. Zeus' response was basically to say, "Funny you should mention that," and he sentenced Atlas to hold up the sky, thus alleviating the weight from the 4 corners of the earth and consolidating them into one point. From there, Atlas was cursed with the burden of lifting the entire sky rather than having the weight spread out evenly among 4 sturdy Titans who were able to live their lives and keep the sky up with minimal effort. But this is where the story gets interesting. This next section is our own personal interpretation, but we don't think the Earth would simply be crushed into oblivion under the weight of the entire sky. Remember, the Titans didn't topple the support beams keeping Ouranos and Gaia apart and then send 4 Titans to hold up the sky. They were the first to build this divide. The Nexus was the death, or rather the banishment, of Ouranos from Earth, which seems to imply that since the sky is still there, Ouranos is still alive, waiting, biding his time. He's not dead, he's just forced to watch the Earth from afar, unable to manifest himself and come back down as he was once able to do. So does this mean that if the sky falls, Ouranos' prison is broken down? Does the contact between the sky and the Earth build a bridge which allows the consciousness of Ouranos to come over once again and come back stronger than ever? Apollo himself even says in Chapter 8 of the Hidden Oracle that he's seen the dreaming face of Ouranos etched in the stars, implying that, similarly to Gaia, he's still very much alive, just asleep and waiting to be woken up. This might be why the gods and even the Titans are so careful to keep the sky and the Earth separate. In the Titan's Curse, Atlas is freed from this burden, but he doesn't simply set the sky down, even though he easily could. He makes sure that he's only freed after his forces find a prisoner capable of taking over the burden, and he even talks about his plan for after he wins the war, which is to watch the Olympians cycle through his eternal prison. He wants each of the gods to take their turn holding the sky, but even he is careful to never let the sky touch the ground, because whatever the consequences are, they scare even Atlas. Atlas has spent thousands of years suffering under the weight of the sky, and for eons, he's wanted nothing more than to throw the sky down, give it to someone else, and get back on his own 2 feet. He'd be entirely justified to watch it crush Annabeth, but he doesn't. He finds Artemis to make sure that the sky stays up, because even though he hates this curse, hates it with a burning passion, he understands just how important it really is. Of course, complete destruction of everything would worry Atlas, but what if there's something much deeper going on here? What if Atlas knew exactly what would happen, and feared a power even greater than the Titans? After all, if Ouranos was to return, his very first act of vengeance would be against the Titans who had betrayed him, and even though Kronos himself had not manifested a physical form, all Titans would be on Ouranos' hit list. We know that Krios is mentioned as early as Battle of the Labyrinth, which took place around 6 months after the Titan's curse, so he was likely out of Tartarus by this point, and Hyperion would not be far behind him. Atlas and his greatest allies would have been hunted to extinction, and Atlas himself, who hates his burden, knows just how important it is to keep the sky up. This also leaves us to wonder if there will ever be a day when Raritan might wish to raise the stakes yet again. We know that Gaia has been defeated, the Titans are nearly extinct, and there isn't much higher to reach if he wanted to introduce another world-ending threat. We know that Nyx is still out there, but she seems to be content roaming Tartarus as of the Sun and the Star, and right now, the only primordial entity that we haven't seen in all of his glory is Ouranos. We saw the living embodiment of Tartarus in the House of Hades. Gaia and Nyx have both been fought, and Chaos is a fairly nondescript stew of energy who may or may not even have a physical body. Whatever the case may be, Ouranos is the last of the primordial gods to show up in the flesh, and now we seem to know exactly how he could make his grand return. But that's the story of who held up the sky before Atlas, and why the burden of the sky is so important. If there's anything else in particular you want to see us talk about, be sure to let us know, because we love this series, we love talking about this series, and we would love to hear your thoughts on it. Take care, friends, and I'll see you in the next one.